When did you first pick up poker, Chris? It's not something that sort of a young kid does.
I started playing poker maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. I'm going to raise to £6. And fell in love with it immediately. The competitive nature of it, the gamesmanship, the balls of steel you need to raise £6 with a hand like that, you know?
Is that your smallest bet since you started?
Probably, yeah. It's a very small bet.
Having watched a few late night games on Sky, some of the guys wear sunglasses, hats, you know, scarves. You're not one of them. You like people to see. You like to be able to control that.
I'm upfront and personal about it. You know, I like to be. I'm very visual. I like to see my opponent. Wow, that's an impeccable flop for my hand. So I'm going to bet. I'm going to bet £30, £40 in that flop.
How long did it take you physically and mentally to get over your last fight falling through so close to it? The physical toll, first of all. I mean, we saw the photos of what you achieved.
The physical toll was, yeah, listen, when you're cutting that type of weight, yeah, you feel like you're going to die. You know, it's a horrible, disgusting feeling to deal with and to go through, especially knowing that after you've done it, after you've reached the weight, you're not even going to get to fight. That made it all the more difficult. But every fighter goes through that at some point. You know, when cutting weight, it's never easy. It's never fun. Your body is in shock. You know, you're starving. You're dehydrated. You know, I was very frustrated that the fight didn't happen, but looking back on it now, there are many reasons why it's actually a good thing it didn't happen. There are many positives that came from the fight falling through. And that's happened to me throughout my life. You know, things will happen and I feel hard done by or pissed off, you know, and then time goes by and you look back and you're like, wow, it was actually, you know, if that hadn't have happened like it did, then I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now. And these things wouldn't be happening. Oh, wow. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better card with that. So, yeah, we're going to bet 150.
I'm going to fold. You can take it.
So I probably have the worst hand you could possibly have in this scenario, but again, my poker face is exquisite. So I can make big bets knowing that I'm losing and still get opponents to fold, you know? So that's something boxing has taught me, you know?
I think Tom wants to come in for a game. I'll have a chat with you while he resets the table. Your dad was very passionate before this fight about it not happening. He was worried about the weight. He was worried about the boxing business and the industry. Now things have unfolded and we know as much as we do know, and you probably know even more. Do you have perhaps, you said at the time, I'm getting in the ring, this is my job, you know, I know the risks, but do you have even more sympathy for the concern that he had now that you've got as many of the facts as you do and that you've made that weight?
Yeah, listen, I always sympathized, I always understood. You know, it was never going to be an easy task. And, you know, as a father, you know, he's looking out for his son. And I get it, you know, but I couldn't give up the opportunity that was in front of me. I believed in myself. I knew I could do it. So I couldn't let anybody else's fears or worries get in the way of, you know, something that I wanted to do. But I absolutely understood it. And, you know, in the end, it all worked out. You know, his thing was the weight. He didn't want me cutting that much weight. The ironic thing is I still did the weight cut, even though I didn't fight. But, you know, when the fight does happen in the future, again, that won't be happening again.
One of the things you said, we had a chat on Zoom maybe a week ago, and you've mentioned it there about fans and how they might have shifted a bit, is you said that there's still this perception of you among maybe casual fans, and you used the term that you're an arsehole, and that you get a lot of stick, mainly on social media, never in person, but I never really remember hearing you complain about that in your early days. Is that something that now you've reached a certain age or a point in your career where you'd quite like people to see you for the person that you are, rather than just that perception?
The perception has got me a long way.
Are you just doing it to sell fights, Chris? Like creating a persona, in the same way that perhaps your dad or even Floyd did?
I don't think you can create something. You can't really create a persona like that. People are, in the past, people have been genuinely upset with me, and whether it's how I fought or what I said, how I dress, there's always something that seems to upset people. And it's not, I wouldn't even call it a persona, it's just me. There's no act. You would be able to see through an act, and people wouldn't be so passionate if it was an act. There are people out there who genuinely hate me. I don't know why to this day. You can't hate somebody if you know it's kind of fake. So yeah, in my opinion, they just kind of, they just don't know the real me, or they're choosing not to see the real me, or, whatever the reason may be. But, over the years, definitely a lot of people who may not have liked me or who were rooting against me have, have switched and become a part of the team and supported me. I've definitely seen a change, especially over the last few years, and yeah, that makes me feel good. Would I prefer to be the good guy in these fights? Would I prefer not to get booed into arenas? Sure. Yeah, I mean, any normal human being would prefer for people to be nice all the time, but boxing isn't nice. The world isn't nice. You have to deal with a lot of stuff, and I understand that, and I accepted that a long time ago. That so I'm never going to be the good guy to some people. That's just how it is.
1-0 to Chris Eubank. Can Sun Sport level it up with Tom here? Is there any danger that you've rushed into a Liam Smith fight? You would have invested a lot of money in your Conor Ben camp and planned for the purse. Fans love this fight. It's a tough fight against the former world champion. Would that be a concern for you? I have seen a couple of people think that could be perhaps a problem for you.
No, I wouldn't say I've rushed into it. I'm 33 years old. There's no time to wait around anymore. I have to fight as regularly as I can, as often as I can, against the best opponents. I was trying to fight in December. I was trying to get this fight made in December. We couldn't make it happen that quick. Now we got it in January. And the great thing about that is it gives me the opportunity to fight in the summer and the winter. I want to fight 3 times this year. Once a year is just unacceptable. I fought once last year, and it's so bad. We have to be active. You bet £5? I call.
He's adamant you're soft to the body, Chris. Not something I've seen so far.
Yeah, listen, I hear something new every time I sit down with these guys I'm getting ready to fight. They always pick something out of the air to use. Liam's is that he nearly folded me to the body in sparring, and that I'm weak and vulnerable to the body, and that's okay. I'll let him have that little bit of hope and confidence, and something to give him a little bit of motivation that he might be able to win. It's a great flop for me. I don't know about you, but I'm very happy with that flop. So I'll bet These are 25s. We'll
Okay, do 25 then,
50,
yeah. Okay.
Bet 50.
The situation with Conor is ongoing, so obviously you've moved on with your career. He seems to be urging the WBC to hurry up and settle whatever outstanding issues there are with him, but his promoter Eddie Hearn is sort of pushing possible opponents already for his next fights. You know, everyone's got to get paid and make plans, but how does that sit with you?
Boxing's a business. He's going to do everything he can to get his fighter back out into the ring. This is how these promoters make money. You know, the opponents he's talking about fighting, yeah, listen, it's a great story. It's hype, it's talk, it gets the people invested in that fantasy again of Conor Benn being the next big thing. But the only fight that people really want to see is me and him. And I couldn't tell you when that fight will happen.
I'll call you the 50 and raise a lucky 10 on top.
All right. Next card. Oh my God, I mean.
Interesting.
If I could have asked for one card in the deck, you know, I mean, it's just incredible. I'm all in.
You're all in?
I'm all in for the whole shebang. There's got to be at least.
I don't want this interview to end yet.
At least 300 pounds, whatever's in there.
I'll have to ask my fiance to get my wallet for me.
I'll show you one card.
What's your plan after Liam? What would you like?
Triple G. That's the name we want. That's the name we are hunting down. He has the belts. He has the name. It's a huge fight. It's a fight that I wanted for years. It's a fight that the fans have been speaking about for years. There's no other fighter that boxing fans want to see face Golovkin more than me. So that's the name we're looking at.
Well, you're used to pressure and I'm not, so I'm going to fold on this occasion.
Oh my God. What did you
and I
fold?
might need to regret it.
Don't tell me you folded an ace. Wow, that is incredible.
You have challenged Jake Paul. You have said, you know, I'm here. I think when one of his fights fell through, you appeal to that internet generation, the younger generation. Would that be a genuine consideration for you that you would take that fight? I think he's way heavier than you, but I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem.
Of course, you know, we're prize fighters. You know, we're entertainers. You know, that type of fight, the fans you gain around the world from fighting and beating a Jake Paul you can't buy that type of publicity. And that would just transfer over to the legitimate fights that I would have after. It's all business. It's nothing personal. I actually don't think Jake Paul is a bad guy. He's entertaining. He is like me in many ways. He's very Marmite. People absolutely hate the guy or they love him. So, you know, if there's an opportunity to fight, you know, someone like Jake Paul in the future, absolutely I would take it. Why not?
Thank you very much. Cash is on your way out.